Hi everybody, welcome into the On-Pod. This is the latest installment of the On-Pod. You may have noticed that it's been a few months since I posted, and that's for many reasons. But here today we're doing a new look format because I have been guided to speak to you in this way, and that this will be the best way for the downloads and the information to come across. So if you've never been here before, hi, my name is Jenna. I'm an energy channel, an energy practitioner and a therapeutic masseuse, and this is my beautiful therapy room here. The reason that I'm here on the On-Pod is because ever since the beginning of my voyage into being a business owner and going into helping people heal, it was always about empowerment and education for me, not just about for myself, but for the others that I could touch and help guide. It has been a long old process to get this started, and a very long process to sit here in front of you through my own healing. It has been a journey, and this journey is culminating right now, not coincidentally, with the shift in energy that we're having. So this pod today is going to be dedicated to the astrology of this moment, to the Epstein agenda that is seamlessly and intricately linked to the astrology of this moment, and also to share some downloads with you that have been coming through to me since early December 2024. And it seems like now it is the right and only time that I share my insights with you. So let's get into it. We're here on the 12th of February 2026, and this year has been shocking for everybody, including myself, in many different ways. Perhaps very different to a lot of you who are receiving the Epstein files as new information. And I imagine if that is new information to you, then that will be utterly overwhelming in terms of uncovering some very unpleasant truths that unfortunately I have known about for a very long time, and millions of others have. Why it's all coming to a head now, I think we're looking for whys. Why? We're all looking for answers. And the astrology of the time is about to give us those answers. The 17th of February 2026 is when we have a pivotal Aquarian solar eclipse, annual solar eclipse, and the changing of the guard in terms of the Chinese astrological year. Why is this so important? Why is everyone banging on about it? Well, there are some incredible astrologers out there that will give you a much more detailed view on astrology than I'm about to give you. This isn't so much about the exact point transits and whether it's conjunctions or whatever it is. My view on astrology is how it's going to impact us. The downloads I receive are very much humanitarian led, as in they're not out there in the ether. They're like, these things are happening, and this potentially is what could be unfolding here on Earth and in our own personal lives. And we're in Aquarius time. It isn't necessarily about the zodiac and astrology as we know it in the mainstream. So this isn't about, the tiny little paragraph you get in the back of the paper from Septic Peg that tells you that you're going to meet the man or woman of your dreams. Astrology is a science that has been used for millions of years by every intelligent race on this planet. It's about how the energies of the cosmos affect the earth and how those energies affect our collective consciousness. When we get into personal astrology, so whatever your sun sign is, the collective energies will be received differently in subtle, nuanced ways, every single person on this planet, because of your own personal astrology. So astrology is where we take what's happening on a cosmological scale and allow it to be interpreted, used, embodied here on Earth. So space weather is something where the planets are moving in solar system in certain ways, where they have geometric alignments to them that create certain energetic frequencies that come down to us here on Earth. That has been called space weather, and there is an amazing person called Stefan Burns Official, and he talks about space weather on many different levels, and it is exceptionally detailed in his data narrative on that. So he likes it to be evidential. He is so adept at being able to pull those resources together and make them relatable. So if you want to know more about space weather, please follow him. If you want to know more about astrology, Pam Gregory and Molly McCord are the people that I love. They will give you the very specific conjunctions, alignments, all of the detailed information that goes into the very complex science of astrology. What I'm here to talk to you about today is kind of the overarching themes, the archetype energies, that more in terms of elemental energies, more in terms of how they interact collectively and here with us. We are in Aquarian time right now. What does that mean, Jenna? What are the hallmarks of Aquarian energy? Aquarian energy is the egalitarian. They are collective focused, fairness, but it's fixed energy. So it's fairness to the point of OCD obsession. It's innovation. It's about things speeding up. It's about having new, bold ideas that impact the collective, not just at an individual level. It's also about having a higher vision. It's visionary, it's egalitarian, it's innovative. This is fixed air element energy, aligned with the values of the collective for the greatest good of all, and cold to the point where it doesn't really matter to Aquarian energy whether you're on board with it or not, whether it works for you personally or not. If it works better for the collective, tough shit, it's happening. That's the energy that we have been in. The beginning of February, the 1st of February, we had 6 planets and the sun all in Aquarian time. So that's where we had a Leo full moon, we had Imbolc, we had all of these aspects of self coming up in terms of how the self interacts with the collective. So you may have found about 2 weeks ago that you were having some really existential, like, who am I? What am I doing? What am I contributing to the world? You know, all of these sorts of questions. And we've been working through that energy. The fact that we have had and been flooded through the media channels globally with this tsunami of sewerage about what human beings are capable of is on the back of that energy. That Leo full moon, that closing out of that who we were cycle, the Aquarian planetary alignment that asked you really to go inside into every aspect of you and ask who is it that you want to be moving forward and how are you going to contribute, would have been galvanized by the flood of information that you will have received. And if that information was new to you, it may have made you question everything that you'd ever known. And that's intentional. And we'll get onto that. And we're heading in to not only an Aquarian new moon solar eclipse, which is where the moon sits between the earth and the sun. We will see a ring of fire around the moon, what looks like a ring of fire, where the sun is eclipsed partially by the moon. What does this mean for us? What does that mean? It means that we are in a time of surrender. The new moons are usually when the energy is darkest, when we're in the void space. There is no light on the moon. The moon is invisible. What's interesting is that we're seeing the dark side of the moon. The sun is illuminating. Everything that has been hidden from us is about to come out in a deluge of information. What else is going on, if that wasn't enough? We have the Chinese New Year on the very same day, Tuesday the 17th of February 2026. The energy of the wood snake, which has been about shedding, which has been about going to ground and understanding who we are and gently shedding those layers. If you found that last year, 2025, was really tough and it asked a lot of you personally, that's because the energy was asking you to do that work. So that when the fire horse starts on the 17th of February, You've shed anything that can stop you from stepping into what is about to be a highly incendiary, powerful, fire-packed, energetic stream that's going to take us all the way through to the vernal equinox, spring equinox on Saturday the 21st, that starts Aries season, that we're getting ahead of ourselves. We'll come to that. So that's February the 17th. The wood snake is going. The sun is going to create a ring of fire around the moon that signals and heralds in the energy of the fire horse. What is the energy of the fire horse? Well, it's certainly the complete opposite to the energy of the wood snake. It's passionate, it's fast moving, it's confident, it's driven by the energy of the horse. And you think that we use horsepower in cars, so that gives you some indication of the power of the horse, combined with the element of fire. Now, it just so happens that today Saturn moves into Aries, the first sign of the zodiac, the I am energy of the zodiac, the warrior of the zodiac, the cardinal fire element, and it's joined there by Neptune. So Saturn and Neptune are these two galactic giant energies within our solar system. They're now in the sign of forward movement. They're now in the sign of impulsivity. All of these Aryan traits are being very much reflected in the energy of the fire horse. So you have air energy meets fire energy, Tuesday the 17th. Get ready for some big revelations, globally, personally, wherever it is in your life that needs to change. This is revolutionary energy that will take no prisoners. 3 days later, on the 20th, you have Saturn and Neptune. So Saturn is the taskmaster of the universe. It takes names, it takes the register, and it asks if you've done your homework. It meets dreamy Neptune. Neptune, god of the oceans, the illusions, the psychic, the spiritual. These two are meeting on the 20th of February at 0 degrees of Aries, an exact meeting of the first sign of the zodiac, which is unprecedented in human history. It's powerful. But we also have the fire horse, and we also have all of the Aquarian energy to back that up, because Pluto is in Aquarius. Pluto in Aquarius is about long-term collective change. It's called the Age of Aquarius, and it affects a generation. Collective energies don't just sit out there in the ether. They come into us, and they come into us through our crown chakra, right here on the top of the head. So everything that is floating about in collective consciousness will come into your psyche, will come into your subconscious. So all of the feelings of civil unrest that are going on, of injustice, of the fact that things have to change, corruption has to end, that living in war is not acceptable, and that there has to be a way that we can live in harmony with one another as a human race. You are an energetic frequency plasma matter being that is directly connected to every other human being on this planet and every other form of sentient life on this planet. If I hurt you, I hurt myself. If you hurt me, you hurt you. We are interconnected. We are one. So when the collective energy gets a very, very abrupt change from the earth water energy that we've had for the past 20 years with Pluto in Capricorn, Pluto's in Aquarius, the gloves are off. All these structures that we've built in Capricorn time, which is financial structures, governmental structures, earth-based 3D structures. It's about, you know, the wheels of commerce turning at all costs. Aquarian energy really has zero fucks to give about what Capricorn has built. If it doesn't serve the collective, it's got to go. It's got to go. And we have Uranus also coming into a very interesting square. Uranus is in Taurus, and that's about the 3D too. Taurian and Capricorn energies are about here 3D value, how we value ourselves, how we value our lives, what we give value to, the systems that we give our energy to, as in, do you believe that your government works in your favor and that you can give your energy to that system and create a sustainable life within that? Expect the unexpected. It's shocks, it's surprises. You throw that in with the Aquarian cool air energy, and rapid communication, innovative ways of doing things, collective uprisings. It's a very, very, very powerful time. You have two giant energies of the solar system meeting in Aries. 4 weeks later, we go into Aries season, and we're right at the beginning of the Western tropical astrological new year. We're in Aries season. This fire energy won't just not let up for the next 4 weeks. This is the energy that will drag you kicking and screaming whether you want to come or not. Because if it's good for the collective, it's taking you, and you will have a choice. You will have a choice as to how you participate with this energy, because free will is the strongest will that there is. It's the strongest universal law that we have. So will you get on board? Will you be able to say, do you know what? Everything that I thought was societally constructed for my benefit very much hasn't been. And actually, I'm prepared to step into this revolutionary energy. I'm prepared to do the work inside of myself that enables me to not cling to the structures that have created the oppression in the first place. If you have been on some kind of healing journey, or you've just been doing some work, whether you've been seeing a therapist or just kind of doing some meditation, taking some time, trying to work out who you are at a fundamental level outside of the societal construct, you may have the tools to weather this system more productively than those. If you're seeing this and you're like, this is all news to me, Jenna, I have no idea what's going on. This could be a very, very challenging time for you. And this is a download that I've been getting since Tuesday, the 10th of December, 2024, that there will come a point where it is the day of reckoning for humanity, where there is a choice to be made. And Greg Braden talks about his work, his life's work of working with indigenous tribes and looking at different civilizations who all talk about this particular moment that could be potentially unfolding in our human evolution. And we get to choose how to participate in that based on whether or not we are prepared to lean into the unknown, or whether we will do what we are programmed to do in terms of our physical bodies. Your physical body wants homeostasis. Your physical body wants to feel safe and secure, even if that safety and that security is the very thing by which you have been oppressed, and it's the very thing by which you have been, your human rights have been eroded. Essentially, we get to choose. We get to choose which side of that we fall in, and we also get to keep choosing. So whether or not you reject all of this information that I'm sharing, that everyone else is sharing out there, whether you choose to partake in the stream of media propaganda and how you partake in that, if that's creating a very unsettled physiological response on you, my advice is to disconnect yourself from those particular channels that you're watching. Do your own homework, be your own guru. But more importantly, come inside, say, why is this upsetting me so much? What haven't I been choosing to see that has been hiding in plain sight in our society for at least a century? We have been slowly being unpicked as a human collective. We have so slowly been segregated and individualized to disempower us from understanding, one, our sovereignty and potential as an individual human, but understanding that we are all connected, and therefore if we're all connected, if each and every one of us steps into sovereignty, there is no oppression possible. I think it's Rumi who said we are both the drop in the ocean and the ocean itself. When we come into energies that we're coming into, collective archetypal energies, let's talk about the archetypes. Aries energy is leadership energy. We think of it as the god of war because it's ruled by Mars, but actually Mars is divine masculine energy. We have been in a wounded masculine patriarchy for a very long time. And that this isn't about men, it's about the energy systems that we have found ourselves operating and our society has been constructed in. When we come into divine masculine and divine feminine, those two energies are created to work together. We live in a dualistic world. We need divine masculine as much as we need divine feminine, and vice versa. So when the god of war, who is divine masculine, meets this cool Aquarian energy, there is strategy and focus and higher vision meeting powerful, unrelenting, high energy, high vibe, get shit done yesterday energy. It's powerful, but it's also unforgiving. It doesn't ask your opinion. It doesn't ask if you're okay with that. How are you feeling about, the changes we're thinking on implementing? It's not like that at all. So what are the plus sides of Arian energy? What are the negative sides of these Aquarian and Aries energies that we're going to be sitting in for the next 20 years? Aquarius, like we've said, when it's in its exalted characteristics, it is visionary, it's innovative. We are going to see technologies coming on board. You can talk about the quantum financial system if we want to go into that direction, because all of what's happening at the moment in terms of the media construct is here to destabilize our financial systems, our political systems, our societal structural systems, and get rid of what isn't working, so that we can then forge a new path. It's going to be messy, it's going to be unpleasant, and it's going to be challenging, because these energies aren't here to apologize for what they need to do. They're just going to step up and get the job done. It's going to be what happens after the initial fallout as to how those true energies will come into their own, how we'll see the innovation, we'll see the technology. We can't even begin to fathom what the future really looks like yet, because it's still up for grabs. How this will all play out energetically is actually down to you and I in terms of the vibration and frequency that we hold within ourselves. Are you going to be prepared to go within and look at the unpleasantness? Are you prepared to embrace the Aquarian energy of looking inside yourself and going, well, that's not good. That doesn't work. We can do that better. We can do that with more fairness and compassion to ourselves and to our fellow man. And that Aryan action of like, just burn the bridges, man. Just get it done. Walk into the fire. It will purify you. Are we ready to embody those energies and have that self-evaluation so that we can really purify and cleanse ourselves of the stuff that we do not need to take forward into the next evolution of humanity? What needs to go will go, whether you want to or not. So what level are you at right now? Are you surrendered into whatever may happen, and I'll get on board with it? Or are you like, this is all a load of rubbish. I believe in the 3D world as it is. Everything's exactly as it should be. I'm going to stick to the system that I know and love. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm the way I am. End of conversation. And if that's you, you may have the toughest time out of all of us. The one thing that has come through in every download that I have had over the past 18 months is that there isn't one of us that's getting through this energy without having to make a sacrifice or having a challenge. The spiritual people of this world haven't got a get out of jail free card. There's no spiritual bypassing here. This energy will touch and change every single life on this planet. We get to choose how we interact with those energies. We get to choose in which direction and how we resist or allow in the changes that are coming, ready or not. I will, at the end of this podcast, put down all of the people, the podcasts, the meditations, the healings, the breath work, everything that I have used on my journey so far. I will put down links to all of those free resources across all platforms, because I feel that it's my duty, having done an awful lot of work over the past 7 years, that if I have a way of helping people navigate this energy who want help, it is my duty to make sure that that is available to you and that I'm signposting that. So where do we move from here? Once this week's out of the way, Jen, and the world's collapsed, what do we do? Well, we know that everything that we need is within us. So if you're in a sovereign mind and you're choosing discernment in terms of when stuff starts to crumble, the structures of our society start to unravel rapidly, and you are called to ask who you are and what do you stand for. If you have no idea really what your core values are, my advice to you is to stand still, is not to commit either way. I need more information. I need more information about myself. I need more information in whatever capacity, is to stand still and ask for help, look for help, be guided, be teachable, be open. Because if you're a rabbit in the headlights, you're going to need somebody that can just grab you out of that car before it hits you. And there are millions and millions of light workers that are coming on board, coming onto the platforms like this, that are here to help signpost and lighthouse the way forward through their own experience and own journeys. That's exactly what I'm doing here. If you think I want to be here forward facing, worrying about how many wrinkles I have and all my grey hair and how annoying my voice is, absolutely not. But I have been compelled to be here, that the message is stronger than any egoic fears or limited narratives that I may have personally kicking around in my own head. So with the energy where it is, with this powerful eclipse happening, with the fire horse coming in, the conjunction with Saturn and Neptune, and the springtime equinox and the beginning of Aries season, what can we expect in terms of our physical bodies and our mental states? This energy will be propelling you forward to look whatever you've been avoiding in the face and holding up a mirror to the stuff that you have been ignoring. And you may have been finding that, as I have, one, the past year, but two, very much so this past month. It has been a relentless daily, like, oh, that's still around. Oh, that limited belief's still around. Oh, that narrative's still around. Oh, I still behave in that way. Oh, you know, all of those things that maybe we don't want to share with others or even look at ourselves will be the sun, the light of the fire will be illuminating that for us all to see. But we're in Aquarius time, so we're all going through it together. We're all going to have a collective roasting, which is good. Because actually, you may feel like it's just you that's going through it. You may feel like it's just your life that's being thrown into turmoil and turned upside down. It's not. It's every single person. And if you're there like, whatever, Jenna, this is a load of old nonsense, and it hasn't come to you yet, it will. Absolutely it will. This is 20-year energy. It's got time. It can pace itself. It will outpace you. So my wisdom to you, from what I know and what I've learned, is where you can surrender to the energy, do the work, do the journaling, do the breath work, do the whatever it is, somatic practices, tapping, whatever works for you, running, out in nature, petting your dog, whatever it is that soothes your soul, find a space, make time for soothing your nervous system, because your nervous system is going to be tapping into the collective energy, and that collective energy is going to be wired, and it's going to be overwhelmed, especially to begin with. This is big energy that's coming in. It will leave you scattered, not knowing which way to turn. And that's why this whole Epstein agenda, that I call it, is perfectly timed with this. They want this energetic up-leveling that we're having, this spiritual awakening that will be forced upon us, to be at a time where we feel ungrounded, insecure, and confused, overwhelmed, and seeking comfort. And we often seek comfort from the place that we are familiar with, even if that's bad for us. So you may find yourself resisting the truths that get unveiled. It's too much to look at. You've invested too much into the structure and identity in this 3D world that you refuse to look at the fact that maybe everything that you've ever known is not what it seems. That's the energy. That's what we're going into. How we can use this to our advantage is that if you know this is happening, like you get the heads up. You get to choose. You're a bit like, okay, well, I need to get my tribe. I need to get my team. I need to get my resources. That's the only benefit people who've been on a healing journey will have going into this energy over people that haven't, is that they will have strategies and tools available to them to help them navigate their identities through what's going to be a global identity crisis. So how is this whole media circus that's happening at the moment playing into this? The Epstein narrative has been playing on and off for a few years, and it's history, it's past. So you are currently being dragged and sucked in to the truth of something that is already decades old. This has been happening for decades. And the reason that you're being sucked into this past narrative is so that you don't pay attention to what's going on right here, right now, right under your nose, being played out in plain sight. I'm here in the UK. I'm British. I live here, not far outside of London, and we have had a government who has systemically broken down the prosperity and thrown as many people as it can into either poverty states now or on the brink of poverty for the future, through various taxes, through various policies. It has collapsed the housing market. It has created segregation and separatism through inflating and distorting an immigration narrative that's been kicking around since Brexit. It has all been planned. What you're being told is what you are allowed to know, because it goes much, much deeper, unfortunately. The depravity and the final agenda of what is trying to be perpetuated in humanity at the now is something that we can't handle, actually. And I've done a lot of work in this, and there are times when I'm down the rabbit hole and I can't handle this. I know that my nervous system is shot. I know that I need to take a step back from it. I can't handle it. I can't perceive how myself and my son are going to navigate in a world that has such hideousness in it. So don't think that I'm not where you are if you're really struggling at the moment. I have been struggling for many, many years knowing what I know. And there are millions out there, and there have been whistleblowers that have been ridiculed and defamed publicly for speaking the truth. And they have been speaking the truth, and that's being proven now. So we are being misled. It's all smokes and mirrors at the moment. I'm not saying that the hideousness that's out there isn't based in truth, but it's not based in the truth, and it certainly isn't getting and exposing the deep-rooted corruption and agenda that is planned for humanity by 2030. I had a very interesting conversation with a good friend of mine who's on a task force for the UK, who's very high up in the role that she does, and therefore has been drafted in. And this is a government think tank about how we can prepare our young people for an imminent war. How we can get those young people into engineering roles and into roles that will enable them to help us navigate a war. You know that already the conscription ages have been changed. This apparently had a 4-year time span. She had a meeting not long ago where it was like, yeah, you need to condense that into 18 months. The agenda is being sped up. If you want to do your homework, go check out the 2030 agenda, the CF40 cities. I mean, it's just hideous what they have planned for us. Digital IDs is part of that. We have here the government in the UK is insidiously corrupt. Our current Prime Minister has a very checkered past. He was very closely linked with Jimmy Savile. Please do your research on who that is if you don't know who that is. He has been closely linked as a protege of Tony Blair, who delightfully took us into a war that was for no humanitarian need possible. And he is definitely a paid up member of Davos, the WHO and WEF, which is how he's got to where he's got to. Those are global agendas. They aren't agendas that benefit us here in the UK. I think, as we're all seeing, he has introduced many things that has impacted our housing market, our food production, by upsetting the apple cart in terms of stripping farmers of their land one way or another. And there's also lots more planned in terms of BlackRock and Lloyd's buying up most of our private housing stock, and just corruption on sustainable energy and pretty much anything. So our energy systems, in terms of the tariffs that are over here, are just unbelievable. The government are forcing private owners and private landlords out of the housing market to enable the people that they are in partnership with to come in, buy up that stock, so that we own nothing. We don't own our cars, we don't own our houses, we don't own our own lives. We are very much controlled by a centralised global government. That is the agenda. They want you horrified, they want you scared. What I would say to you now is that you have an opportunity to choose discernment. You have an opportunity to choose where you are putting your attention and your energy, which essentially is your greatest asset on this planet. Where you put your attention, where you put your focus, what you give energy to is going to be what persists. So do you want to feed a machine that's perpetuating hurt, degradation, depravity, control? Is that the system that you want to feed? Or do you want to feed a system of personal sovereignty, collective unity, a place where we live together, not all unicorns and rainbows and happy clapping, holding hands if that's too far for you to go, but at least peacefully and respectfully, and in a way that sits with our true core alignment as human beings, which is to come here and evolve humanity, not descend into depravity. You get to choose where your attention goes, what you feed. It is your choice. What I will say to you is what you feed and the amount of people, in terms of, let's think about that collective consciousness bubble. The more fear is in that bubble, the more hatred, the more scarcity, all of these very low density energies that go into collective consciousness will keep us stuck in the current regime that we're in. And that's what the agenda is. That's what the Epstein agenda is. The flip side of that is that energetically, the cosmos, in its infinite wisdom, has decided that this is the moment we awaken and we evolve in a way that we can't even fathom at the moment. All of the junk DNA that exists inside us, who knows what humans are going to be capable of in the next 20 years if we choose sovereignty. And when I talk about sovereignty, I mean of the mind, when we're able to hear the narratives of our society and our lovers and partners and co-workers and families, and we get to listen to what they have to say and then discern for ourselves whether or not that's something that we resonate with, or whether we're going to choose to distance ourselves from that. Sovereignty is true freedom. Individual sovereignty is where freedom is. We've been taught that freedom is financial. Be financially free. Money is a currency that doesn't care, that has no agenda. Very much like AI. AI doesn't have an agenda. Again, it's an energetic frequency. Money is an energetic frequency. It's an electrical current. It's a currency. We determine, as the humans who direct our value and our attention into things, we give money its value, its power. We decide, as part of our collective construct, what enables us to be free. If you're free in your mind, you're free everywhere, irrespective of how much money you have. This next era of humanity is moving away from status, power, consumption, and hoarding of assets. That isn't the greatest way forward for the collective, and therefore it won't continue. And however that's going to unfold, I have no idea. And anyone that tells you that does is lying, because no one knows what's going to go down. So if we are living in a world that's controlled by the very, very wealthy, and all of our governmental systems, our educational system, our health system, our social systems are all feeding into what we could consider a negative agenda, what hope in hell do we have to move forward? The beauty of the energy that we're moving into is it's I am. Aquarius is about the collective, but you have an absolute fuck ton of I am energy coming in. Saturn and Neptune in Aries. The fire horse embodying Aries energy. Aries season about to kick off. This is about us stepping into personal power, personal sovereignty, understanding what our agenda is and how that connects into service of the greater collective. It's gonna give you the confidence you need to say, no more, I'm checking out, I'm not doing this, I'm going on my own. It will give you the bravery, and it will give you the drive and the energy. Aries is known high energy. It will give you the energy to burn away anything that doesn't serve you, so that you can show up as the greatest asset collectively to serve the greater good. We are moving away from individualized wealth. We're coming into collective wealth, and not just monetarily. Connections with our communities. We are now we're rewilding. We're becoming much more community-minded and community-based, because we're all struggling the same. You know, this is a great leveling energy. It's not a hierarchical structural energy like Earth builds, right? Stack on top, on top, on top, on top. And you had this incredible vertical hierarchy where those at the top are great and those at the bottom are absolutely squished. Aquarian and Aries energy will level that playing field. This is an incredibly exciting time to be alive, and know that your soul has chosen it. It's absolutely 100% chosen to be alive at this time in order to make these decisions. in order for your soul's next evolution, in order for you to decide what ancestral, what familial, what personal boundaries you are absolutely ready to smash and obliterate and to never let it come forward again. It's powerful, it's amazing, it's exciting, it's incendiary. And it allows for us to come together, it's uniting. If you think what fire does to metal, when you put a 3D earthly substrate under fire, it completely deconstructs it. And it allows you then to use whatever is left from that substance to create and build and shape something new. This is the energy that we're in. This is what's amazing about it, is that we collectively, as the human race, as a united species, get to choose our future. It is not down to the few. It's down to every single one of us and our own energetic frequency as to what our future looks like. So if you are absolutely strung out in terms of, everything's corrupt, I don't know where to go, I don't know where to turn, there are so many people feeling in the same way as you, and there are so many people out here shining their lights and asking you to step forward, and all you have to do is trust. Trust in your own truth. We have been systemically removed from our intuitive center. Your heart is the biggest energy center on your body. It is not just a pump. That is scientifically proven. It is an energy center that, when it is trained, can navigate out of you 6 meters. Think of all the people you can impact in your heart energy once you learn what we call heart-brain coherence. So we have a narrative in here that's full, I think, I know. What do you feel? Because your heart can communicate with your brain 10 times faster than your brain can communicate with your heart. You have a little mini brain inside your heart. There's 40,000 sensory nanites that are called the mini brain that sit inside your heart, that allow you to receive all the energetic, intuitive knowing that actually tells you what's right and wrong for you. How many times have you known it in your bones what is the right outcome for you, yet you have allowed an external source to influence you out of doing whatever it is that you thought you would do, and it has ended badly. Every time that I have ignored my intuition so far this year, it has ended very badly, very quickly, and taught me a lesson very sharply. That's the energy that we're in. We will not be able to ignore the intuitive nudges, because the fallout and repercussions of ignoring our intuition will be fast and furious. So come inside. It's not about meditating on a mountaintop. It's about trying any way, shape or form where you can start to understand your thought process. You can start to understand how your thought process is dissonant to what you feel inside your body. Somatic healing is going to be one of the most powerful tools that you can give yourself. I'm really lucky that I'm doing a somatic healing talk with a ladies network at the end of the month, just after all this energy kicks off. So we're going to be doing a few tools on how to use that. So if that's something that you would like to know, put it down in the comments. This is a scary time, I'm not going to lie. Yeah. Do I worry about my future and my son's future? My son's future especially. 1,000,000%. Do I get overwhelmed? 1,000,000%. Do I get distracted? Absolutely. But I'm learning, still learning, and will remain learning for the rest of my life, that actually that's just an old narrative. That's an old social conditioning that I don't need to put my energy into anymore. And I have the tools to support me. So please go down into the box below and see all of the resources that I've left for you there. You will find your own resources. You'll find your own people that speak to you. Maybe that I do, maybe that I don't. I may have triggered the hell out of you. Good, that's what I'm here for. That is the one thing that I understand is my role on this planet, is to be an activator. And it may be that I activate you because you absolutely hate everything about me. Great. Go on a journey with that. Get curious. Good. I'm not here to be liked. It may be that something that I say really, really resonates with you and gives you hope and actually inspires you forward. Great. Again, that's wonderful. Either way, it's not about me. It's about the message. And this message is here to activate you one way or the other. And hopefully this message is here to give you a bit of hope that we are not victims. We are creators. We are creators of our own reality. We are creators of our futures. And each and every one of us is in control of the timeline that we step forward into. If you want to know more about manifestation, universal laws, all the rest of it, go and check out my other podcasts. If you want to know more about some of the insights, I'm going to be releasing more content in terms of on-pods about my journey through January with what turned out to be a facially disfiguring experience that left me fairly humbled and enjoying a nice ego death early on in 2026. I want to say thank you for being here. I'm not going to ask you to subscribe. If you feel called to do so, great. If you don't, I understand. If you've watched this all the way to the end, what I would say to you, if anything has resonated with you, please share. Share the shit out of this message and like it. I'm not into algorithms. I'm not into all that crap, but it has to be used in order to get the leverage that I hope this reaches. We have been controlled. If you're 47 like me, you've been controlled your whole life in one way or another. And it's time for us, especially my generation, it's time for us to come here and do what we agreed to do when we showed up on this planet. And that's make a difference for the future and make a difference for our children. Take care, everyone. Speak to you soon.